Dennis, good to see you. How you doing, brother? How you been? How you doing? Free and Forever, good to see you as well. Good evening, Miles and CMF. How you doing? How you been? Hello, Miles. What's more decentralized, XRP or BTC? In a sense, BTC in a sense. However, behind the scenes, I mean, the Bitcoin miners are 5 massive corporations that are essentially, the backbones of them are BlackRock, Vanguard, and Fidelity are majority shareholders in Bitcoin mining institutions. So, in terms of which is more decentralized, I mean, XRP has that centralization situation going on, and so does Bitcoin as well. Neither one of them are fully decentralized in any sort of a way, because if you look at Bitcoin, the maintaining of the network essentially is 5 massive Bitcoin mining institutions. All of them majority shareholders are massive corporations like BlackRock, Fidelity, and Vanguard, and Goldman Sachs. So they control the network, and then the price point is controlled by ETFs, 937 corporations. So it could be manipulated essentially in a way. So it's not fully decentralized, and so no cryptocurrency is in a sense. It gives you the aspects of the illusion of decentralization, but in reality, the majority or every cryptocurrency has that centralization situation going on where it's being fully manipulated. Yes, brother, could you talk about China narrative today? Yes, Cass, no problem. I'll talk about China's narrative today. Good day, Miles and CMF. Mike, good to see you as well. How you doing? What's good, CMF? Troy, good to see you as well. How you doing? Camel, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? Even Miles and CMF. Joe, good to see you as well. How you doing? Thanks for the link you sent me today. So informative. No problem, Camel. Anytime, brother. Even Miles and CMF. Pierce, good to see you as well. How you doing? Miles, what is bigger, CBP or tokenization? What is bigger, cross-border payments or tokenization? Cross-border payments. In terms of tokenizations, it's only when the asset is being sold, only when the asset is being sold off. It creates that aspect of value moving about. The value is still there even is holding there, but it's about moving around the asset. So a property being sold is, there's a chance of it being sold, but money being transferred around the world every second, that's a higher chance. So CBP is much more higher. But tokenization is also just another form of finance. It's a new avenue stream. What's up, brother Miles and CMF? Below, good to see you. How you doing? Good evening, Miles and all CMF. JP, good to see you. How you doing? But tokenization also brings that aspect of derivatives markets, which is about, estimated to $2.4 to $3 trillion market space. Good evening, Miles and all CMF. JP, good to see you. How you doing? So tokenization as a standstill is much more value. Has much more value as a standstill, but cross-border payments has much more value also in terms of money being transferred 24/7. How's everyone? Below, good to see you as well. How you doing? XRP News Vex. We have one Ripple news to go through regarding perspective of CEO Brad. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Tor, good to see you as well. How you doing? George, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening, Miles and Crypto Peeps. Semper, good to see you as well. How you doing? Till which price can only tokenization push the price to, in your opinion, in XRP? A lot, because we have tokenizations of properties, tokenizations of bonds, tokenizations of securities, tokenizations of derivatives, tokenization of art, tokenizations of any assets and sort of value can be tokenized. So the market is quite vast without CBP. It's quite vast. So saying that, is it safe to say that CBP is the biggest market? Hey, Miles of CMF. Internet Post, how you doing? They're both huge market spaces, without a doubt. Cross-border payments is a massive market space, without a doubt, and so is tokenization. They're both quite incredibly huge market spaces. Now, on tonight's live show, by the time everyone tunes in, everyone's tuning in one by one. By the time everyone tunes in, I'll go through the gist of what we're going to be talking about tonight's live show. By the time after I'm done with the gist of what we're going to talk about, everyone's tuned in for the first news of the day. So, is XRP the best crypto for tokenization, or are there better? I think it's the best in terms of it's never had a network go down. So in terms of crypto projects that have tokenization capabilities and actual contracts. Every crypto project can essentially claim to do tokenizations, but it's not about claiming to do tokenizations. It's about contracts to show that you can do tokenizations. In other words, there's a corporation out there who's taken in trust into your blockchain project to do tokenization with you. That's what edges you from everybody else. So it's all about the contracts, in a sense. That shows you that you are better than everybody else. And XRP, the XRP ledger has pretty much never had downtime like its competitors, let's say, in this field. It's much more cheaper than its competitors, much more faster than its competitors, and it also has a lot of contracts to its name. So in essence, yes, it is better. Good evening, Miles and all CMF. Iman, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hi, Miles. Jim, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you doing today? I'm doing great, Iman. How you been? Good evening, Professor Miles and the rest of the students. Let's get funky, brother. Does XRP have the most partnerships for tokenizations or only CBP? Well, their partners for essentially cross-border payments also do tokenizations, so both. And what have I missed, bro? Well, we haven't went for any news yet. We're just doing a bit of Q&A. We haven't even started the live show. And when will XRP pump and will it dump after the pump? Yes, and I'll explain why right after I say the disclaimer of this live show, before I say that. So, welcome. Morning, everyone. Hope you're all well, Miles. Let's go, Shelly. How you doing? Morning. Welcome, everyone, to the CMF Live Show. If you are watching this for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF Live Show, where we talk about what's happening around the world in terms of the news in cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, regulations, and politics, because it all plays into politics. And the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So welcome to the CMF Live Show. If it's your first time watching this live show, we're going to be going through quite a mixture of news to go through on tonight's live show regarding a UK bank essentially banning they're going to be banning anybody that wants to buy cryptocurrencies inside the UK according to one bank. And then we're going to be talking about Riot Platforms, which is one of the biggest Bitcoin mining platforms out there that essentially BlackRock is a majority shareholder in, and they're increasing their share inside the market space. And then we're going to be talking about an AI, essentially a company in India. Yesterday I shared a company in Japan who's getting ready to invest about $9 billion. Well, a bank in Japan is getting ready to invest $9 billion into the AI space. And it could be blockchain projects as well. Now, today, there's also an Indian company that's came up with a lot of money and said they want to venture into AI, just like the Japanese company yesterday. And they're going to be investing quite a lot of money as well to go through on tonight's live show. Then we're also going to be talking about Fantom and Google. They just announced a partnership, which is amazing for Fantom. Then we're going to be talking about reasons why the market dumped today. If you're wondering why is the market dumped all of a sudden today, I'll explain to you why that's happened today with data. And then we're going to be talking about Luxor, who has essentially launched the first ever Bitcoin mining derivatives inside the United States. A derivatives market has opened up inside the United States for Bitcoin. That's the first one ever. We're going to go through that as well. We're also going to talk about healthcare today as well. Healthcare tech company shares have surged by 27% after announcing plans that they are going to be investing into Bitcoin. Then we're going to also be talking about the political spending aspect on the political market space and how that's really boosting things going forward inside the crypto space. Then we're going to be talking about Ethereum regarding when is the deadline really going to be for Ethereum to get the actual green light to be on the market space for everybody to buy an Ethereum ETF if they want to. Then we're going to be talking about how maybe Ethereum can outpace quite a lot of projects on a major scale from a perspective basis. Then we're going to be talking about Nick Van. Now, if you're wondering who is Nick Van, he's the son of the giant asset company VanEck. Nick Van has just now launched essentially his own stablecoin, and his father is VanEck, the massive asset management firm. So there's a new stablecoin coming out from VanEck, essentially. Then we're going to, and I'll tell you what blockchain is running on. And then we're going to be talking about two BlackRock funds as well, two BlackRock funds that have ventured into IBIT as well. Then we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, in other words. Then we're going to be talking about Bitcoin ETPs. They've just went live in London's stock exchange. Then we're going to be talking about Donald Trump and how he's thinking if he can use Bitcoin to wipe out America's debt. Then we're going to be talking about Ripple's CEO on tonight's live show as well. Ripple's CEO has given his perspectives on the market space. So quite a mixture of news to go through regarding AI, regarding Bitcoin purchases, regarding paying off debts, regarding companies investing into, regarding healthcare investments. Quite a mixture of news to go through on tonight's live show. But before we go through any of that, and some banking news, and why the market is dumped today, according to data, let's go inside the comment section before we go through any of that. But the first news we're going to be going through is regarding a UK bank that's decided to ban customers from performing crypto purchases inside the United Kingdom. But before we go through that, let me go inside the comment section. Let me just see what's happening here. Jim, your question, I said after the disclaimer, I'll explain the question. I'll give you the answer after the disclaimer. So, when will XRP pump and will it dump after the pump? Yes, XRP will pump, obviously, when the case is ended. It's guaranteed to pump when the case is ended. Not financial advice, but it is, in my opinion. Not financial advice. After the case is ended, it's going to pump, but it will dump straight after. Now, it won't dump to the price it's sitting at right now, but it will dump to a certain price point where it will be sitting at to stabilize itself for the next leg up. The reason why XRP will pump will obviously because it's been held back for essentially missing bull runs and being stuck in a case. So it's a massive news. The market will pump straight after the news. Ripple, XRP will pump quite a lot. Now, the reason why it will dump afterwards as well is because there's people that's been holding XRP for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, 6 year plus years. So many how long years everybody's been holding XRP. So after shooting up to $2, $3, $4, $5, or so on, it will drop because people will sell. And then it will stabilize itself at a certain price point. It won't come down to the price XRP is sitting at right now, but it will sit at a certain price. After that, essentially it will go sideways for a bit and then shoot back up and sit at a different price. And then sideways and shoot back up, sideways and shoot back up. That's right. Morning, everyone. Shelly, good to see you. How you doing? Paul, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. Paul goes, asks another one. Hey, heard you examined. Okay, I don't know who this person is, but Samuel, goodbye. But will they use XRP for tokenizations before cross-border payments or after cross-border payments? It can happen either way. Good evening, Miles and family. Or good to see you. How you doing? Below, it can happen either way. If Ripple are trying for the stablecoin on a XRP ledger, which will be the equivalent to $1, then maybe XRP will also be worth $1. Huh? Funky brother, your statement makes no sense. If Ripple are trying for a stablecoin on the XRP ledger, which will be equivalent to $1. So Ripple's creating a stablecoin that's going to be pegged to $1. Yes, that's true. Then maybe XRP will also be worth $1. If XRP is going to be worth $1, then why Ripple create a stablecoin? That's why I said your statement makes no sense. XRP is not a stablecoin. It was never a stablecoin to begin with. It's a separate asset. Your statement of if Ripple's creating a stablecoin on the XRP ledger to be $1, then maybe XRP will also be worth $1. XRP is not a stablecoin. The other one is. And if XRP was a stablecoin, then what's the point of creating a stablecoin? That's why I said your statement makes no sense. Greetings, Miles and CMF. Just in time for the news. Let's go, Denise. That camel seller sack guy is crazy, man. Even Miles and family. Manny, good to see you. How you doing? Miles, I'm worried my bag of XRPs, XDC, and ACH and XLM won't flourish in time for me to. Could I expect a 10x in 2024 with this? Well, we have to see. This case has to end. Before any of these movements happen inside the financial space, this case has to end. And the adoption will grow a ridiculous amount. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Hope you're doing a great day. Let's go, David. How you doing? When is the last date for Biden to veto? When is the last date for Biden to veto? Apparently, it's around January. They will use crypto to wipe out the world's debts, is what apparently Trump has had a discussion about once. We should go through that on tonight's live show as well. What up, Miles and family? Hope all is well, though. Ray, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Yes, on the live. Maybe another moderator has deleted it already, probably. Hello, Miles and CMF. GRS, how you doing? What's this about China's narrative? So apparently Chinese crypto projects are going to be flourishing and doing quite a lot of movements, is what's going around right now inside the crypto space, which was what was Camel telling me about. So I think it was Camel that was telling me about it. That sorry, not Camel, Cass. Cass was telling me inside a Telegram group that a lot of people inside the crypto space are aiming towards Chinese crypto projects because they're going to be pumping in the meantime. Now, this could just be hype, or it could be another reason, which is Ethereum. Ethereum is about to, get listed on the market space. It's already green lighted, but to get actually fully listed for the ETF sales, which will push Ethereum's price up, which will also bring adoption to the Ethereum chain. And regarding the narrative behind Chinese crypto projects, the narrative could be behind it in a sense that what helped Ethereum become Ethereum day one was the funding they received from a Chinese VC company, pretty much. So that could be the narrative behind it regarding Chinese crypto projects also pumping alongside it. Between the drop back down and the push to another higher price, how long will it take between that in time, in your opinion, brother? If it drops that, when it does drop down, when XRP case closed, goes up, comes back down because everybody will sell. People who've been holding for too long, I personally couldn't care less. I've been holding for a very long time. I'm buying for a very long time as well, since before the lawsuit ever came about. So I personally won't sell. But I said inside the Telegram group, inside CMF Telegram group, I'll tell everybody, this is the peak price before it drops back down to stabilize itself. So every step of the way, I'll take you through it. It will probably take, when it comes back down, within a week it should be back up. I don't see when after, but again, it won't come back to these prices. It shouldn't come down back to these prices. I don't see when after the case we hit 5, go back down to 1. I see 3 maybe. Yeah, it's not the chances of it coming back down to these prices is never going to happen. Can you go through in detail how we'll borrow against our XRP assets with a bank, in detail of how we're going to be borrowing? Sorry about that. How we're going to be borrowing essentially against our assets with a bank regarding cryptocurrencies? Yes, you're going to go to a bank like HSBC Bank. HSBC Bank right now is going into lending and borrowing in terms of crypto assets. So let's just say for this example, you go to HSBC Bank, they will say to you how much of this particular crypto asset do you have? Then you could say I have this much. For example, let's say in this storyline, $100,000. Let's just say, for example, you have $100,000 worth of cryptocurrencies, of one cryptocurrency. Then HSBC, of a legitimate cryptocurrency, not zoo animals. Then HSBC Bank will tell you, okay, we can lend you this much. They're not going to lend you 100,000. They're not going to let you borrow against your $100,000 of cryptocurrencies for $100,000. They'll most likely give you 50,000 or 40,000 to start off with, to build trust with the bank. Then after paying back that money, then you can borrow more and more and more. But you'll be using your crypto assets as collateral with the bank. In case you can't pay it back, the bank will take your crypto assets. If you do pay it back, then your crypto assets are yours. Will they use Ripple stablecoin for cross-border payments or just XRP? Will they use Ripple stablecoin for cross-border payments or just use XRP? Both can be used. They have similarities. But XRP will have different scenarios going on with it as well. Good evening, CMF and Miles. Stormy, good to see you as well. How you doing, Stormy? How you been? I'm planning to trade only 1,000 XRP in price movement. A week, so if it drops more like €5 to 2 to 3 after like around a week, we see from 2 to 3 up to like, let's say 8 to 9. That it's a bit to think, brother. Yeah. Basically, so around weeks higher up and not months after the case. It could be months, but weeks is more likely in the use case. But will it pump after the drop based on the adoption or retail? Most at the beginning it's going to be both, but the retail mostly because they'll jump back in. But it'll also be the adoption along the way, because the adoption will be the one actually carrying it along the way, higher and higher and higher, not the retail section. Retail will be the instant drop of jumping out, and then some jumping back in, and then the adoption we will carry it along, because the case is finished. So the adoption rate is actually the one that's carrying along. The retail section, some will jump back and some won't. So Miles, do we have to physically transfer the collateral to the banks to borrow against it? Yes. Now you have to, because the bank have to have access to your collateral. They're not going to come looking for you if you can't pay it back. They have to have access to your collateral. Now, but we have to see what the bank's regulations are going to be in that moment in time as well. I think we can't push over €10 with only retail. No, definitely not. Not with retail. Now, first news on tonight's live show is UK bank. We have quite a lot of mixture of news to go through. UK bank to ban customers from performing crypto transactions starting May 30th. There is a particular UK bank who has decided to block UK customers from buying cryptocurrencies. So, starting May 30th, UK digital bank Kuro, if anybody's using this bank, will prohibit its customers from conducting cryptocurrency transactions. Kuro, a London-based digital bank, has announced that it will no longer allow its customers to conduct crypto transactions. This decision is in response to increasing number of online fraud cases and scams associated with cryptocurrencies. According to the bank's terms and conditions, Kuro will restrict an account if you use your account to purchase or trade in cryptocurrencies, or you receive credits to your account which arise from cryptocurrency trading or transactions. If we detect such activity, we will not process the payments involved, and if you persistently make such essentially transactions, we may close your account down. That was the statement that was made by Kuro Bank today. Kuro can also freeze accounts if they suspect crypto use. From May 30th, 2024, we will no longer support bank transfers or card transactions associated with cryptocurrencies, the bank wrote. Kuro is a challenger bank aiming to compete for business against large, well-established banks. It is following other UK challenger banks such as Starling Bank and Chase UK in issuing bans on cryptocurrencies. Yeah, honestly, they shouldn't do that, but I can see why they're doing it, because nobody wants to use their bank and everybody wants to buy cryptocurrencies. Makes sense. But yeah, if you are using Kuro Bank, I do suggest maybe looking at alternative banks, because they're going to be blocking and freezing your accounts if you try to buy cryptocurrencies with Kuro Bank inside the United Kingdom. Now, Riot Platforms wants to buy Bitfarms for $950 million is the next news we're going to go through on tonight's live shows. If you're wondering who's Riot Platforms, well, they are one of, or the biggest at this point, Bitcoin mining farms, essentially. They are the biggest, essentially, one of the biggest or the biggest, because they're quite high up there. Bitcoin mining farm. And who they backed by? BlackRock. And Riot Platforms is going around now, not only buying land to build Bitcoin farming institutions, not only going to governments like Kenya, doing contracts to build Bitcoin farming installations in Kenya as well, with the help of the Kenyan government to expand Bitcoin's dominance, but they're also buying out their competitors. And all of this is coming from BlackRock. Essentially, BlackRock is the push behind them for all these movements, because they do have a lot of money, oddly. Now, before we go through that, let me go inside the comment section and see what's here. So about the push up after the drop, it has to be adoption. It has to be adoption, yes. The higher the price point we get to in XRP, the more stable it will be. Not many will sell at $100. That's true, because not many will be holding until $100. Also true, facts. So if the loan period is 4 years and the price of the coin goes up by 5x, then who benefits, the bank or us? You, because it's technically still your assets. So if you do borrow against your assets, for example, so based on Funky Brother's question, let's go back to that scenario again. You went to HSBC Bank, you have $100,000 worth of your cryptocurrency. So let's just say in this scenario you have 100,000, because Funky Brother's question was based on XRP. Let's say you go to HSBC Bank, because they are doing lending and borrowing in Hong Kong and they're expanding to Dubai. So HSBC Bank is doing lending and borrowing. So let's say you go to HSBC Bank, you have $100,000 worth of XRP, you go to the bank and you say, you want to borrow against your assets, and they say no problem, you have to put them down as collateral. You borrow against your XRP and you're sitting at $100,000 worth of XRP. The bank will have to have some sort of access to use it as collateral just in case you default on your payments. Now, they won't borrow you $100,000, they'll most likely borrow you $40,000 so you can build that trust with the bank. Now, let's say your $100,000 worth of XRP goes higher. Who would benefit? You would benefit, because it's still your assets. The bank hasn't taken it as a default payment. So you're still going to be benefiting. Now, let's say your $100,000 worth of XRP turns into 120, 130, 140. Let's say it goes to $200,000 now. You go right back to the bank, you borrow against your assets again, and you pay back the original loan. And then when it goes higher again, you borrow again, pay back the original, borrow again, pay back the original loan, until it goes higher and higher and higher. You just keep on using it as collateral. Or you can go for the best ROI as well, pay it back and borrow again. But if it goes higher, you can borrow against it again and use it as collateral and pay back the original loan. Only 5% going to hold $200. That's true as well. How are you today, Miles and CMF? Lina, I'm doing great. How you doing? Which China coins do you like? MDT is good. Do you see ETFs accepted or rejected? Accepted. Too much there's too much political concept going on for it to be rejected at this moment in time regarding S1 files. Gary Gensler today also had to pay $1.8 million in fees to a court because of debit box. So the debit box case that happened a while ago when the SEC lied to a judge saying that debit box was moving around people's money, transferring it abroad, turns out to be all lies, and the SEC had no proof. Now today it was announced that debit box is going to be paid $1.8 million by the SEC. So the SEC is looking even worse today, especially. So is Gary Gensler, because all of this happened under his authority, which makes him look incompetent in front of all of Congress. And they actually use that in that scenario as well, where Gary Gensler is incompetent, and that's why they're going to be bringing in the CFTC to, share the power between them regarding cryptocurrency regulations. So that's why. Regarding is it going to be accepted or rejected, it has to be accepted. The S1 file is going to be accepted. Otherwise, Gary Gensler is going to soon have a job but no authority, because they can't fire Gary Gensler. The only person that can fire him technically is the United States president. Congress can't fire Gary Gensler. They can, make his life a miserable hell by trying to take away his power, but they can't fire him. Only the president of the United States can. But the issue with that is obviously Joe Biden can't walk, talk, sleep, stand, left, right. He can't do anything. Joe Biden has 2 brain cells left, and he uses one of them to barely walk and the other one to barely sit down. Speaking is optional for Joe Biden. So, he can't fire Gary Gensler, and neither can Congress. So that's why they can, take away his power when it comes to Gary Gensler. That's what Congress is doing right now. But yeah, Gary Gensler looks very incompetent today by paying $1.8 million to debit box. Thank you, Brother Miles, for that clarification again. No problem, anytime. Coin, good to see how you're doing. So it's a high chance of the S1s being accepted, the S1 filings. Sometimes I forget things. I am sure you did explain all this to me last year. Probably. He is. Yep. Imagine suing someone and end up paying, not receiving a payment. Gary's a clown? Yep, facts, honestly. The embarrassment of the SEC today is hilarious. Now, Riot Platforms, which is a massive Bitcoin mining firm that has backings essentially to BlackRock and some other major key players, Riot Platform is now expanding their reach by buying out their competitors, which essentially gives BlackRock the edge over Bitcoin mining. So Riot Platform wants to buy Bitfarms for $950 million. Riot Platforms, a prominent Bitcoin miner and Bitfarmers largest shareholder, has made a hostile takeover offer of $950 million for Bitfarms, a Canadian Bitcoin mining company. Riot buyout offers their representatives a 25% premium over Bitfarmers, 1 month essentially valued weighted average share price as of May 2024. Riot Platforms, already the largest shareholder in Bitfarms with 9.25% stake, had initially approached Bitfarms board essentially on a private offer around April 22nd, but they didn't accept it. However, following the rejection of the offer, Riot has now taken the proposal public. The deal would involve a combination of cash and common stocks, with Bitfarms shareholders standing to own approximately 17% of the merged equity or entity. The timing of Riot's bid coincides with a period of transitions and turmoil within Bitfarms management. The company has been grappling with the departure of its CEO, Geoffrey Murphy, who was dismissed in May amidst legal disputes. Murphy had exits, and the lawsuit against Bitfarms for breach and contract and wrongful dismissal have raised questions about the company's leadership stability and governance practices. So this is the best time for Riot Platforms to come out and essentially buy out their competitors, which will give BlackRock a much more bigger edge over Bitcoin mining institutions. Riot Platforms has seized upon these developments to assert its case for the acquisition, alleging that certain directors, including Bitfarms co-founders Nicholas and Emilion, may not be acting in the best interest of these shareholders. Riot has pledged to push for the addition of new independent directors to Bitfarms board for a special shareholders meeting scheduled after the company's upcoming annual general and special meeting on May 31st. Now, Notably, Bitfarms' essentially disappointing earnings in 2023, despite a costly technical upgrade, have contributed to its vulnerability. Analysts have essentially expected better performance post-Bitcoin halvings, but Bitfarms' April earnings dropped 29% year-on-year. In contrast, Riot Platforms essentially reported a 131% increase in their net income, Riot Platforms, backed by BlackRock, in Q1 2024, reaching $211 million. If successful, the combined entity would emerge as the largest publicly listed Bitcoin mining company in the world, essentially, boosting significant self-mining and power capacities. Now, Riot Platforms envisions leveraging this enhanced scale and operational efficiency to drive future value creation for shareholders and strengthen its competitive position in the burgeoning cryptocurrency mining activities. So, if this deal goes through, BlackRock essentially, well, Riot Platforms will be the biggest mining company out there, which means they will control the majority of what happens on Bitcoin's network. And obviously, Riot Platforms, one of their biggest shareholders is BlackRock, ironically. So BlackRock has pretty much reaching the #1 ETF, Bitcoin ETF, BlackRock will eventually have, because they're about a few hundred million behind Grayscale right now. So BlackRock will eventually have the #1 Bitcoin ETF on the planet in terms of assets under management. And then they're also, on the other side, BlackRock is going to be controlling the majority of the Bitcoin network, because essentially through Riot Platforms. Yeah, BlackRock's going to have too much control over what happens on Bitcoin's network and what happens to its price point at this rate going forward. So if this deal goes through, BlackRock is fully in control of what happens to Bitcoin next, moving forward, essentially. Now, Adi Group. Andy Group eyes AI, payment, and e-commerce to uplift its consumer businesses. Now, you must be wondering, who is Andy Group? Well, Andy Group is an Indian company who is going to be advancing a lot, essentially, in the AI space, payment space, and e-commerce space, which means they are going to get their checkbooks ready to invest into the blockchain space as well. Now, yesterday I revealed to everyone that SoftBank, a Japanese bank, is going to be entering the AI space. They're going to be investing $9 billion into the AI space, and they do quite a lot of risky movements inside the market space. They are the only bank I've ever seen that actually go for high risk, high reward investments. Banks typically don't go for high risk and high reward investments. This particular bank in Japan does. The one I revealed yesterday, SoftBank. $9 billion, they're going to be, coughing it over essentially to AI and some blockchain ventures and so on. And I said I'll keep everybody informed of their next movements and who they partner up with. Now, Andy Group today announced that they're going to be pretty much following the exact same footsteps of SoftBank that was announced yesterday. They are also getting their checkbooks ready, but to also expand into a lot of areas inside, not just AI, but payments as well, and e-commerce as well in this whole digital space. A lot of adoption is happening in terms of essentially institutions coming into play. Before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. What would happen if you passed while still in lending deal with a bank? Would the asset be returned to the state less outstanding debt, just like property? Sorry, morbid. No, the bank isn't technically holding your assets. The bank isn't technically holding your assets. They just have some sort of access to your assets. But again, that depends on regulations of how they have access to your assets. So the bank isn't physically holding your cryptos. You are holding them still. But they got to have some sort of access just in case things go south and you decide to disappear and not pay the loan off. So they're not actually holding your assets. They have some sort of access to it. Top 3 coins for this month, the ones you think will perform the best. So you don't think BTC drops, also how much? So do you think BTC will drop, also how much? Yeah, we're going to go through that regarding BTC dropping and why the market dropped today. I have actual evidence, as I always do, because I always say everybody's entitled to an opinion, but opinion is not correct and facts are facts. So it's the data that matters and the contracts that matter, the PDFs in other words. So we go through why the market dropped today, and there's a possibility of it maybe going through some hurdles and speed bumps for a small period of time. We'll go through why, but before we go through that, we're going to go through the Adi Group company and the comment section. And some say BTC is decentralized. It's in control of a few people. Yeah, BTC is not decentralized technically. No cryptocurrency is fully decentralized in any sort of a way. Every cryptocurrency has that centralized aspect about it. Everybody says about, BTC's fully decentralized. Nobody's, we don't know who created BTC, and therefore nobody's in control. Everybody can have access to it. Yes, that is true. Nobody's in control. Actually, not so. no cryptocurrency is technically fully decentralized, okay? But everybody goes about how BTC, nobody's created it as a not one entity is in control of it. But in reality, it technically is some sort of a way, because Bitcoin needs to operate on essentially the Bitcoin network, which the Bitcoin mining institutions are the ones controlling the network. And the price can be manipulated as well. So yes, in a way you could say it's centralized, but in a way you can in a way you can say it's decentralized, but in a way you can also say it's centralized, because the network is controlled by 5 Bitcoin mining institutions, which are all established inside the United States. They used to be in China, but because China banned BTC and ruled out CBDCs at the same time, these Bitcoin mining institutions moved over to the United States. Their majority shareholders are BlackRock, Fidelity, and Goldman Sachs, and Vanguard, which essentially is, BlackRock's about to get a bigger piece of the pie as well with this. And then we have the Bitcoin ETFs with 937 corporations buying into Bitcoin ETFs. 400 of those corporations, according to the SEC filings, are essentially a part of BlackRock's BTC ETF. So, the ideology of anything in crypto being fully decentralized is ludicrous, because once any crypto project gets to a certain level, it technically becomes centralized. When the big players like BlackRock, Fidelity, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, these types of corporations start getting involved, they start maintaining the network, they start getting, into ETFs. Yeah, the aspect of decentralization has pretty much went away, because they can manipulate it from the chain, because they're controlling the majority of the what's going on in terms of transactions through the Bitcoin mining institutions. Not only that, but they have the biggest assets under management in terms of the Bitcoins itself or the ETFs themselves and so on. So they can control the price point as well, manipulate it. So nothing is technically decentralized. It's the illusion of decentralization. When a crypto project is useless and nobody's using it, and some people inside the retail section are using it, yeah, sure, it's decentralized. But when a crypto project essentially when a particular crypto project crosses that threshold into the corporate sector, yeah, the ideology of decentralization pretty much goes away with it. It becomes centralized. The EU, for example, is coming out with regulations where no crypto project technically is decentralized at all, because anything can be manipulated in every aspect, where some people can have more control than others. And by that, I mean America, the American government holds quite a lot of Bitcoins. Iran holds quite a lot of Bitcoins. North Korea holds quite a lot of Bitcoins. China holds quite a lot of Bitcoins. Russia holds quite a lot of Bitcoins. Do any of these governments sound like the man of the people? So, the ideology of fully decentralization doesn't really exist once a particular crypto project crosses that threshold. It's the illusion of decentralization, but the price point can be manipulated. The network can be manipulated. Look at who's holding it in large volumes. And look at who's controlling it in large volumes. So once it crosses that threshold into the corporate world, forget about decentralization. Your top, some say BTC, yeah, it's in control of a few people, pretty much. Not a big surprise. BlackRock always comes out on top. Facts. Anyone knows why BTC can never go to zero? Yeah, too much adoption right now. It's like because it's because they don't want it to go to zero. They can obviously shut it down. It's quite easy to shut down crypto. A lot of people assume it's crypto is too widespread to shut it down. Not really, because again, the crypto companies that operate essentially, the cold storage wallets, the crypto companies that build cold storage wallets, they're all public and private companies. They can be shut down like this and banned from jurisdictions. And then the hot wallets are also attached to another company that's either public or private. They would have to shut it down, or they can get a massive fine and get taken to court. The networks themselves are, the Bitcoin networks that's been controlled are, again, 5 Bitcoin mining institutions that can also, be shut down as well. They're all public and trading on the stock market. Everything is related to public-private companies or invested through public and private companies. There's always a link between them. And the idea of DeFi, essentially, and I'll tell you why they're not shutting it down, but the ideology of DeFi withstanding government control is also wrong, because they can be IP blocked. And VPN companies are also private and public companies. Don't forget this at all. Everything is a public and private company, or something will always lead back to a private and public company, which can be controlled if it needs to be. But they won't let it. They won't let that control, because they want everybody to get used to cryptocurrencies. They want everybody to get used to cryptocurrencies, how to use a wallet, how to do transactions, because the world is going to be shifting into digital. The data is there to prove it. It was starting from COVID. the World Economic Forum, essentially, the World Economic Forum meeting, the recent one that happened in 2024, they discussed the ideas that they had, and they discussed the patterns of data, essentially, regarding even, before COVID, everybody was using cash. The data is there to prove it. After COVID, it went 80 to 90% of people using online banking, mobile banking, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Pay, and so on. After COVID, this happened. They wanted people to also shift into a digital era where they get used to cryptocurrencies, where they get used to sending payments on cryptocurrency wallets and so on. This ideology where essentially, the corporate sector is surprised by Bitcoin, or the government is surprised by Bitcoin, or surprised by cryptocurrencies, or, when have you ever known any corporation like BlackRock, for example, or Fidelity, or Goldman Sachs, or JP Morgan, or Wisdom Tree, or Franklin Templeton, or any sort of jurisdiction be surprised about new technology coming out of nowhere? Governments are typically the people that know exactly what essentially what particular technology is coming out before it even comes out. Governments are 1,000 steps ahead of the retail section. They plan things before it even happens. And for a second, if you think you're inside the retail section and you knew what Bitcoin was before the government knew what Bitcoin was, you are lost, my friend. Because they're letting it happen on purpose, because they want you to get used to the idea of cryptocurrencies. They want you to get used to the idea of how to transfer money in the digital world, because that's where we're headed. They are planning all of this to make us shift into that era. So the ideology of you knowing what cryptocurrencies are and the government doesn't know. Yes, politicians are thick as bats. I give you that 100%. Politicians have two brain cells between them. They share the exact brain cells essentially as a goldfish. But that's not who we are talking about. We are talking about people behind them, the people that are actually pulling the strings, the corporations that are pulling the strings, or the government entities that are pulling the strings. That's who we are talking about. We're not talking about Sleepy Joe. Yes, I know Sleepy Joe can't stand, walk, talk, go to the left or go to the right, or how to use a pen. We are fully aware of that. But again, don't look at Sleepy Joe. Look at the people that are controlling. Look at the people that are pulling the strings behind them. The corporations, the donations. Those are the people, in fact, that are in play. In the Bank of International Settlements, the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation, in the Bank of the World Economic Forum. In the World Economic Forum, the Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation and the Dutch Princess. The Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation and the Dutch Princess made a speech at the World Economic Forum. And they said, essentially, for 10 years, they've been working on CBDCs, trying to connect them to building CBDC wallets to connect to social credit systems. Bill Gates and the Melinda Foundation, the Dutch Princess, have this fund going on, this project going on for 10 years, trying to connect CBDC wallets perfectly to essentially social credit systems. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes that are all documented. But people just don't know where to look. And people think this ideology of, crypto's new, government doesn't know what crypto is, the people know what Bitcoin was before the government. No, not all of that is wrong. They're always 1,000 steps ahead. Everything is planned alongside the way. And the reason I, obviously can see through it, and most people can, is because I'm from the corporate sector. So I have that corporate mindset where, I stick to the documentation, stick to the paper, and not this is, some conspiracy theory. It's all documented on PDF documents. Bank of International Settlements has a PDF document. The Bank of International Settlements has a PDF document from the 1980s labeled eCash 1 and eCash 2. In the 1980s, Bank of International Settlements, the banks of all central banks, 60 centralized banks under them, including G20 countries. They have a document, essentially inside of it says eCash 1, eCash 2 from the 1980s. That document is right now being used in 2024. Everything is documented on PDFs. So this ideology of, you knew what Bitcoin was before the government, or you knew what this was or what that was. No, all of this is a plan. The reason why they won't shut down crypto is because that's where we are headed. We are headed into a digital world. If they wanted to, they would have shut it down. But they are the ones that brought it into the systems, but made it look like you stumbled upon it. Now, so that's why they won't shut it down. Anyone knows why? That's why BTC will never go to zero. If they want, they can, but they won't for the time being. It's like refinancing your home. You hold the assets. Same thing for crypto, pretty much. And also, the 2008 crash happens and miraculously Bitcoin comes out of nowhere to hedge against inflation. Sure, let's all pretend that was a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence inside the corporate sector. Chase Bank in building, yeah, I saw that. So what happens if Tangent collapses? Would our Tangent cold wallets be locked? No. If you have seed phrases, you can technically, if you have seed, so if you sign up to Tangent or sign up to Trezor or sign up to any sort of cold storage wallet and you do it with seed phrases, you can enter your seed phrases in another cold storage wallet and your assets will reappear. You're not technically holding your cryptocurrencies in Tangent. You're holding them on the chain. It's just that's your key to that chain, to that wallet. If Tangent, collapses and disappears, and you can't open up your Tangent app, if you have seed phrases, you can technically log back into another cold storage wallet company and get access back to your wallet. This is why I say it's important to sign up through Tangent regarding seed phrases, not just through the card. Even if every BTC holder sells their BTC, including all the government, and BlackRock still won't go to zero because 70.5% of BTC is lost and no one has access to it yet. Do you think the universal basic income will be implemented worldwide? Yes. Regarding what Kamal's question was, the godfather of AI, okay? No joke, this is what he's named, the godfather of AI. This man worked alongside OpenAI, he worked alongside Microsoft, he worked alongside Google on developing AI. So this guy has been everywhere and he's been a key player in developing AI. And he's named the godfather of AI. Now, I forgot what his full name is, but if you type it in Google, the godfather of AI, it would come up. And you can see where he's worked at. So he had a meeting with Rishi Sunak. Now, if you don't know who Rishi Sunak is, he's the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. So the godfather of AI had a sit down at number 10, essentially, with Rishi Sunak, and he discussed that everybody will essentially be, not everybody, but the majority of people will be losing their jobs to AI. So this guy goes around, essentially warns governments and, shows them blueprints and footsteps, essentially, of how far AI could go and so on the developments. And one of the discussions that came out that they were having was that AI is actually rapidly growing much more faster than they assumed. That it's growing too fast. And they said when it gets to a certain stage, it's going to be too hard to control and so on, and most people will be losing their jobs. So the godfather of AI recommended to Rishi Sunak that he should be looking into implementing some sort of universal basic income, because the people that will lose their jobs to AI will have difficulty landing another job, because that other job they're going to be getting most likely is going to be taken over by AI as well. So the majority of people will be on, obviously, universal basic income, because what else are they going to do? You're getting me fired up now, Miles. This control thing is making me mad. This control thing is making me mad. Even if, yeah. Don't worry, Shelley. As long as we're in the right projects, none of the control, anything else matters. So as long as we're in the right projects, which is the projects that are going to be most beneficial with regulations. So the crypto projects that are going to benefit the most from regulations is what you want to be in. A lot of people inside the crypto space will tell you, no, stay away from projects that corporates want to have a hand in, or stay away from projects that, go with the regulations, go against the system. That's the most stupidest idea I've ever heard. How are you trying to go against BlackRock? How are you trying to go against, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, any sort of government and win? As if you in the retail section could go up against BlackRock and say, yes, I won. No, it's a losing battle. What you should be doing is going for crypto projects, essentially that will benefit. Corporations coming in, you would benefit from that. Regulations coming in, you would benefit from that on the particular crypto projects you were in. So obviously the good thing is everybody inside the CMF, including me, we're all inside of crypto projects that would actually, with the regulations, we would benefit more. A lot more money coming into it because the assets will mature, which means the corporate section will be funneling through money, essentially a new avenue stream into these crypto projects. BTC news. Yes, we're going to get to that BTC news as well. Miles, what's your opinions about China invading Taiwan? Is this going to hit the market like 2022 Russia-Ukraine war, or is it bullish? Nope, it's going to hit the markets. Yeah, you thinking it will drop? Yeah, possibility. Regarding BTC. Regarding BTC is a possibility. Okay, I'll tell you the reason why the markets dropped today as well. And then we'll go back to that AI news. Miles, what's your opinions about regarding that Taiwan situation? The Taiwan situation might not happen because there's a presidency change coming in. So if Trump comes in, then the possibilities of that war happening is a slim to none. You think is it all drop? Possibility is it possible that Tangent app disappeared one day? I didn't ask for a seed phrase. I didn't ask for the seed phrase. Well, there's always a possibility of something happening. And the universal basic income is for sure in CBDCs. It's not even a question. Yes, it's obviously going to be in CBDCs. Give a thumbs up for Miles family. Let's go, Troy. Thanks so much to everybody that's liking this live show. Also, thanks so much to everybody that's retweeted this live show next as well. Now, I'll give you the reason on why the market, essentially went down today. So, the main reason why the crypto market went down today was because of Mt. Gox. So, reason why crypto market declined today, with a 2% decline in the global market cap. Today marks a slow day for crypto industry. As for now, the overall crypto market cap has declined to $2.5 trillion after surging to $2.6 trillion earlier. Moreover, most cryptocurrencies are stained in red in the heat map, confirming the market fall. In the last 24 hours, Bitcoin price has declined 3%. Ethereum price lost 3% of its gains despite the overflowed demand for the Ethereum ETF, and the rest are following same. So what is behind this fall inside the crypto sector? After the bullish market conditions that happened, the crypto market went from a downfall until the recovery a few days ago. The market, essentially sentiments, have also shifted to greed from neutral on the fear and greed index, but the dropped price through the bullish possibilities. Mainly, there were two reasons why, essentially behind this market drop. Mt. Gox Bitcoin transfers and the drop in the Bitcoin ETF inflows. So, Mt. Gox, if you don't know what this is, it was a crypto exchange essentially that got compromised, let's say, and then now it's getting to a stage where they're going to be paying back everybody regarding their BTC holdings. And it's quite a lot of BTC they're going to be paying back to people. So, Mt. Gox just transferred $9 billion worth of BTC, and the market became worried that they might be getting ready to refund all of their users. And if you're wondering why is this bad, an exchange is going to be refunding people. Some might sell, some might not. Yeah, the people that lost money was 10 years ago. So after almost 10 years ago of shutdown, Mt. Gox, a popular crypto exchange of that time, made a transfer of 141,000 plus BTC, approximately $9.3 billion worth of BTC, to 3 unknown wallets. This transfer is an attempt to return to its investors who lost their funds during the 2014 hack. However, this $9 billion worth of BTC was a huge quantity, causing panic among crypto investors instead of a relief over the transfers. The transfer happened in 13 parts, with their destination being the 3 anonymous wallet addresses. The transactions ranged from $3 to $2.2 billion worth of BTC, dropping the BTC price to $67,000 from the $70,000 sitting at, causing an overall selling pressure in the crypto market. Also, Mt. Gox became the 11th largest Bitcoin Cash crypto whale address, as one of its wallets moved 142,000 plus tokens worth of Bitcoin Cash, equivalent to $69.7 million, to an essentially unmarked address. So, 2014 essentially is when the hack happened. So 2014, people were holding their Bitcoins on Mt. Gox exchange in 2014. So from 2014 until now, just imagine the price difference on Bitcoin. And those people are going to be receiving their Bitcoins. Is essentially what's happening with all these wallet transfers. And that happens, the guy that brought the person or the people that brought their Bitcoins in 2014 at a much more different price compared to now, there's a high chance that they will sell, most likely for profits, which will cause a selling pressure. So that is why the markets dipped a little bit today, because Mt. Gox started doing wallet transfers. So people got worried, essentially, or whales are tracking these wallets. The whales got worried that they might be getting ready to transfer BTC and refund people. There's about $9.3 billion worth of BTC that's going to be transferred over. Now, is it going to be all at once? Most likely not. Is it going to be in parts? Most likely yes. Now, it might cause a selling pressure, but at the same time, it will cause a buying pressure straight after, because the corporations will buy them up. There's 937 corporations right now buying BTC ETFs. And Bitcoin Cash is also going to feel the pressure. because $69.7 million of Bitcoin Cash is also going to be refunded to the essentially the victims of this hack. Now, Bitcoin ETF inflows as well essentially turned stationary. Bitcoin ETFs comes stationary after witnessing a huge demand earlier in the month. As of now, the BTC ETF inflow rate is restricted at $13.68 billion for the third consecutive days, slowing the market growth. This comes after breaking the 10-day record of surging ETF inflows. Data till 25th, when the net recorded inflows were $252 million. It indicates that investors are growing concerns over the short-term gains in crypto market. However, the investors are still bullish despite the crypto market fall, and the Ethereum ETF approval plays the most significant, essentially, roles with discussions over upcoming ETF projects. The traders are eyeing the altcoin rally with the anticipation of an early bull run, which is still a possibility even with this empty GOX situation going on, because they're not going to be releasing it to everybody at the exact same time, which, if they did, will cause a massive selling pressure. Now, the reason also why the BTC ETF inflows have not stopped, but slowed down. It could also be relatable to the empty GOX situation, where these wallet transfers are now happening, because everybody's anticipating, is empty GOX going to be opening the floodgates, or opening it a little bit? So that's for you to know now of why the market suddenly went a little bit down today. Let's say, or sudden down. Now, the next news to go through also on tonight's live show is Fantom and Google Cloud have announced their partnerships. So if you're holding the crypto project Fantom, they've now announced a partnership with Google Cloud. We should go through that now as well. Before we go through this, inside the comment section, Professor Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, they should thank the hacker. Yep. Is the DTCC working with Ripple? Yes. They're also working with Chainlink. Is there an official partnership? Yes. Now, Fantom and Google Cloud announced partnership. The importance of partnerships in cryptocurrencies have been evident recently. Many cryptocurrency companies continue their initiatives to dominate the real world and add new partnerships. In this context, an important partnership agreement was announced a few minutes ago. Fantom and Google Cloud join forces. According to an announcement made a few minutes ago, an agreement was reached between Google Cloud and Fantom. This agreement was announced via X and the Fantom Foundation's blog. The statement made by Fantom Foundation on X was as follows: "We are working together at Google Cloud." They tagged Google Cloud. "Our partnership will initiate efforts for Fantom developers to create the next-gen dApps using Google Cloud's advanced AI and infrastructure. Additionally, Google Cloud is now running as a validator on our network." Statement from company's CEO. Following this announcement, the CEO of Fantom Foundation, Michael, made also a more detailed statement on the blog. We will always prioritize a developer-first approach, and this latest collaboration is the latest demonstration of using all resources to enhance the ecosystem experience. By partnering with Google Cloud, Fantom developers gain access to additional resources and capabilities, with more to come soon. Fantom and Google Cloud are set to establish a new paradigm for blockchain technology capabilities and features. Our partnership with Google Cloud is a significant step towards a major transformation for Fantom. Coinciding with our recent essentially announcements of our new high-performance chain Sonic and the introduction of Sonic Foundation and Sonic Labs, this partnership also builds on our existing relationship with Google Cloud, which includes indexing Fantom blockchain data in BigQueries as a part of Google Cloud's most database program. So, Google Cloud and Fantom's partnership have been announced. Now, Luxor and BitNominal launch first Bitcoin mining derivatives inside the United States. For the first time ever, the United States is going to be having Bitcoin hash rate futures. The first fully regulated Bitcoin mining derivatives is happening inside the United States. Bitcoin mining derivatives. Can you please link the partnership PDF? I could not find it. The reason why you can't find it is because when the case started against Ripple, that document went disappearing. Now, Luxor and BitNominal launch first Bitcoin mining derivatives inside the United States. Bitcoin hash rate futures. The first fully regulated Bitcoin mining derivative product has been launched for trading inside the United States by Luxor Technology Corporation and BitNominal. The product will trade under the ticker HUP, with essentially featuring 1 petahash contract sizes through monthly timings. The derivatives product is designed to increase liquidity and transparency in the Bitcoin mining sector, and while it's also reducing counterparty risk for participants. The product will enable miners to hedge revenue and provide investors with a new line of access to Bitcoin mining as a market. Settlement will be executed using Luxor's Bitcoin hash price index, tracking the value of hash rate across competing miners. Current data from the index shows that the hash price is sitting at $52.70, computing as spot USD per hash rate over a daily average. So if you're thinking about doing some futures trading essentially on Bitcoin, you can also do futures trading on the derivatives market side on hash rates on Bitcoin now. So now Luxor and Bitmo have designed the product to be accessible to anyone with a Futures Commission Merchant (FCM) account connected to the Bitmo exchange. Luxor has also established and introducing a broker IB business to help firms onboard more FCMs, making it easier for interested parties to participate in the new derivative product available inside the United States for the first time ever. The launch of Bitcoin hash rate futures, complements Luxor's existing suite of hash rate financial products, which includes physically derived and non-durable hash rate forwards. Luke, the founder and CEO of Bitmo, highlighted the growing demand for crypto-based derivative products, particularly from the mining community. Luke claims that there has been unprecedented demand for a futures product that's fungible with Luxor's spot and forwards essentially offerings. Bitmo's leverage in Bitcoin derivatives marketplace in with how offers physically backed contracts enabling traders to redeem these for Bitcoin in a place of fiat. With Bitcoin hash rate futures entry to regulated markets, there will be more diverse tools to respond to the complexities of Bitcoin derivatives. So, if you ever wanted to, do futures trading, for the first time ever, the United States is now offering futures trading on Bitcoin hash rates through Luxor, which is something I never thought it was needed, but it's going to create more money. It's going to bring adoption rate, and yeah, definitely is a new avenue stream. Also for Bitcoin miners, for Bitcoin mining institutions, it could be also a new avenue stream as well for them, which will help them to evolve better and make good profits. But yeah, the ticker is going to be HUP, and it's the first time ever in the entire world, you could even say, regarding all the United States, futures trading on Bitcoin hash rates. Now, healthcare tech company shares a surge 27%, essentially after announcing plans to buy Bitcoin with cash reserves. So a tech company, essentially a healthcare tech company, is, well, quite a lot of them actually. They're entering into the Bitcoin field. They're going to be backing their company with Bitcoin reserves. Now, this whole ideology of these companies lining up to back their entire companies, eventually with Bitcoin, started off with MicroStrategy doing it in the first place. With MicroStrategy being essentially even the first Bitcoin ETF, not really, but also in some sort of an oddly way it was at that time when we didn't have Bitcoin ETFs of MST or stock. So everybody's right now following MicroStrategy's footsteps. MicroStrategy led the way with buying Bitcoin and backing it with their company, and then we had the Japanese company following in suit, MetaPlanet, and then we had also a few other companies in Hong Kong doing and in Singapore, and now we have health tech companies essentially following the blueprint that MicroStrategy left behind for them to go into the Bitcoin space and buy it and use it as company reserves, which is definitely going to be, one, creating a massive adoption rate for Bitcoin, two, bringing more eyes inside the crypto sector in general, because a lot of people think, when companies do this or they go for ETFs, it's only good for Bitcoin, which in reality is not. It's wrong to look at it like that, because the perspective you should be looking at is it brings eyes on the entire crypto space, which is also what Michael Saylor stated recently after his previous speech of Bitcoin is the only one, and then we have Ethereum ETFs now. His speech changed to, when we have ETFs, it brings eyes on the entire crypto space, which is the speech I've been given for a very long time. But he changed his speech and came out with that speech 2 days ago. Now, before we go through that, let me go inside the comment section. Any news? Can you please link the partnership PDF? Yeah, the reason why you can't, the reason why you can't find it is because of the case. Any news on SEC and debit box? Any news on SEC and debit box? Yes, they're going to be paying $1.8 million. The SEC has to pay a $1.8 million fine to Debitbox because they fumbled the entire case from start to end. And the case has been dismissed now. Miles, if I have some spare money now, which would you buy today out of XRP, XDC, XLM, and ACH? Also bonk or dollar cost average? XRP. You could go dollar cost average if you wanted to, or XDC. Either way, not financial advice in any sort of way. But those two, I would go for the three X's. Even ACH is good to go. But the three X's, dollar cost average, why not? Personal opinion, not financial advice at all. Now, also ACH as well, why not? Because they're all good. So, healthcare. Healthcare tech company. Shares have surged. The shares of those companies have surged 27% after announcing plans to buy Bitcoin with cash reserves. Medical device makers and healthcare technology company Selma Scientific announced today it plans to buy Bitcoin with its cash reserves, and almost immediately the company's shares rose by as much as 27%. Just by making the announcement, the healthcare companies, just by making the announcement, they're going to be buying Bitcoin and using them as company reserves, their shares, those company shares, went up by 27%. Same thing happened with Metaplanet in Japan. When they announced it as well, their shares went up by 56%. This is all because of MicroStrategy starting this trend a while ago. Selma Scientific's board of directors had adapted Bitcoin as its primary treasury reserve asset and purchased 581 Bitcoins for an aggregate amount of $40 million. Inexclusive of fees and expensive, the company said. After closing at $23.32 per share on Friday, US markets were closed on Monday, obviously. The Selma Scientific stock shot up about 27% on Tuesday, at one point changing hands at $29.50 a share, according to Yahoo Finance. That would put the market capitalization of all Selma Scientific shares with essentially was worth a little more than $200 million at the time of the publication. And this is what they said. This is what Selma said, word for word. Our Bitcoin treasury strategy and purchase of Bitcoin underscores our belief that Bitcoin is a reliable store of value and a compelling investment, Selma Scientific Chairman Eric Selma said in the company's statement. You see, Bitcoin as a reliable asset has unique characteristics as a scarce and finite asset that can serve as a reasonable inflation hedge and safe haven aimed global instability. The company said it continues to generate revenues and accumulate cash reserves as well, and Bitcoin will serve as Selma Scientific principal treasury holding on the ongoing basis. Famously, the business intelligence firm Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy company began buying with its excess cash in 2020 as a hedge against inflation. Selma Scientific shares traded around $29.21 at publication time, but up 25% on the day. So, a lot more companies, a huge list. By the way, the next news we're going to go from tonight's live show is political spending may boost chances of passing stablecoin bill this year. A stablecoin bill being passed this year inside the United States, or any other cryptocurrency bill being passed inside the United States, it's definitely going to be passed. There's a much more higher chance of being passed because of the political stance. And we'll go through what I mean by that and the political budget of cryptocurrencies. But regarding what essentially Selma did, a lot more companies are going to follow in suit of what MicroStrategy did back in 2020. So MicroStrategy back in 2020 going for Bitcoin, using as a hedge against inflation and growing their company. Look at where MicroStrategy was and look at where it's standing right now. Big difference. Metaplanet following in their suits from Japan. Now Selma, a group of essentially healthcare tech companies following MicroStrategy steps. All of this is a positive sign for not just Bitcoin, but the entire crypto space, where the corporations right now in multiple fields, for example, are coming inside the crypto sector. They're trusting the crypto sector step by step, but it's going to show over time a lot more adoption is going to be happening inside the crypto space, even from companies like Selma, for example, or companies like Selma essentially, where there's more trust being built on the crypto sector. Yes, crypto is not all rainbows and sunshines, and we have stupid projects inside the crypto sector. We have scam projects inside the crypto sector, but we also have the good side of crypto, where there are legitimate crypto assets. Some are doing amazing things on the blockchain. They're providing the smart contracts, the tokenization aspects, the cross-border payments aspects. So many amazing aspects on blockchain technology. But also we have the other aspect where it's pseudo-animal tokens and scammers. But every market space has the bad side and the good side. Stock market has the good side, the bad side as well. A lot of companies went downhill in bankruptcy. That was the bad side of the stock market. And the good side was the companies like Nevada and so on, which climbed and did better. So, as in what I am trying to say, the point I'm trying to make is corporations who haven't entered are starting to enter into the crypto sector and realize there's a good side and a bad side. Which side to go for and what side to stay away from. And this is great news because it grows the adoption. With Selma's company doing this, companies that are competitors to Selma now, because every company has a competitor, especially if you're in the healthcare business. So companies that are essentially, a part of Selma are now going to be entering the crypto market as well. This is just how it works inside the corporate sector. I'm inside the corporate sector as well. I see it all the time when, a particular company inside the corporate sector enters some sort of field. Their competitors get interested. They go, okay, hang on a minute. Why are they entering in this particular field? Let's do our research as well. Maybe it's a good entry for us as well. I'll give you another example. JP Morgan. JP Morgan has been using ETH to build their own exchange and so on for corporate payments only. Not anybody can have access to. Nobody from the retail section, only corporates. So JP Morgan has been using ETH for a while now. Then suddenly JP Morgan goes and uses AVAX on a subnet green for tokenization prospects. After JP Morgan goes towards it, I said, by JP Morgan doing this, it's going to get, more corporate eyes on AVAX. About a week or 2 weeks later, Citibank announced they're going to be, building and testing on a subnet green on AVAX. That's just how it happens inside the corporate sector. Their competitors right now are looking at Selma and going, why are they going for Bitcoin to back their company? They must have done their research. We need to do our research as well. And it just builds and builds, and adoption just grows and grows, even beyond Bitcoin. So that's good news in terms of bullish news in the long term. Very good news. Now, the political spending is also where we're going to go next. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. Hi, just joined. What is this live about? Oh, we talk about, I think Shelly already put inside the comment section. We talk about crypto. So on this live show, it's called a CMF live show that I do every single night. This is episode 70. We are live on X and YouTube at the exact same time always, 11:25 p.m. beyond UK time. We talk about crypto, so recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, regulations, politics, AI, everything that's related to each other in the world, essentially, going into a digital era. That's what we talk about on this live show, and we do Q&As as well. And I have a background in business, finance, tech, law, and cybersecurity. I also own a blockchain startup company called CoinMove.one. I'm also quite close and have quite a lot of close friends and acquaintances in, Binance executives and other exchange executives as well, and VC companies and so on. And also people who start off the Graph project. So I'm well inside, one, the corporate sector, and two, in the blockchain sector. And everything I provide is completely free of source. So everything I'm doing always, every single night, is completely free. And we have also our own free Telegram group as well. Yeah, because I believe education should always remain free. So welcome to CMF Live Show if it's your first time. So that's what we do. Your favorite Swifty. Hi Miles, back from my meeting, wondering if XL will always be the same ratio to XRP in the future, meaning XRP is 5 times the price of XL, so XRP goes to $1,000. Will XL be 205 years from now? Well, they're going to have different adoption rates, so the chances of the ratio staying the same is low. XLM could also go higher. Is that possible? Not higher than XRP, but also go higher as well. So, I mean, they're going to be following suit, but at one point they're going to go on separate paths, but have some similarities going between them. And good to see you, so happy Pisces. How you doing? And Shelly, thank you so much for explaining to your favorite Swifty regarding what we do on this live show. Thank you, Shelly. Excellent. Yep, I figured. You think BTC goes under 65,000 this week? If the MT Gox situation happens, on a rapid pace, they come out and start refunding everybody, then anything can happen inside the market space. But the chance of that happening is quite slim. Very slim. Because I see them more like over time, refunding everybody's Bitcoin rather than a sudden drop. Because none of these corporations that are holding quite a lot of Bitcoin would let that sudden drop happen unless they want a sudden drop, is another question. Now, I think you missed my comments. Oh, did I? Sorry about that. Miles, is it less smart? Sorry about that, Camel. Is it? Yep, there we go. Sorry about that. Miles, is it less smart to only hold XRP if the goal is to maximize profit for lending and borrowing? Is it less smart to only hold XRP? I mean, you can hold a multitude of cryptocurrencies if you wanted to. It's based on essentially, your budget when it comes to diversification. It's definitely based on your budget. Small budget, certain amount of coins, medium, certain amount of coins, and obviously large budget go wild inside the market space. But is it less smart to only hold XRP if the goal is to maximize profit for lending and borrowing? No, because in the long term, obviously, you're in a much more safer asset class going forward to lend and borrow against it if you want to do that. But you can go for a few other ones that are similar to it as well. Now, but yeah, no, you're good. I'm sorry about that, Carl. Oh, I missed your answer. No, I think you missed. I think I missed your comments. So I guess the adoption of XRP of XLM will be quite worldwide intense. So you do see around 500 or never getting to that. I do see it happening quite a lot actually. XLM is going to expand quite a lot. Just wondering if I should invest more into XLM or focus on XRP. XRP should be number one focus, and XLM should be number two, and XDC should be number three. But I would say XLM and XDC are equivalent to each other, where they can outpace each other. But XRP will always be above those two. In that particular asset class, XRP will always be above XLM and XDC. And XLM, XDC more like... Can everybody see me? The connection, the platform just cut out for a second. The platform just cut out for a second. Can everybody see me? Okay, we're back. Okay, good. Yeah. Happy Pisces. XLM is going to do amazing things. And XLM and essentially XDC are going to be like this, where XRP will always be above in that asset class. Now, thanks. No problem, Carl. Anytime. Yep, let's go. Political spending. Political spending may boost chances of passing stablecoin bill this year. TD Cohen. Political spending for upcoming elections in the US may have prompted regulators to approve spot Ethereum products and lawmakers to pass a crypto markets bill, which is true. I've always said, one, it always leads back to politics, and two, just pay the politicians and donations. That's essentially what's happened right now. And that could bode well for other bills as well that's coming inside the United States. including one to regulate stablecoins in the near future, according to investment bank TD Cowen. Pro-crypto super political action committee, Fairshake PAC, and its affiliates have raised more than $100 million so far for 2024 election. $100 million fund for any politician that wants to join the pro-crypto team. So if you're wondering why we got the Ethereum ETF approved so quick and the votes coming in so quick from politicians for the first time in their lives, because it's a $100 million fund right there. TD Cowen said in a note today that, citing a report from the consumer essentially advocacy group Public Citizen, we believe this monetary heft helps explain why the SEC approved Ether ETFs and why the House overwhelmingly passed crypto market structure legislations. Yes, that is exactly the reason why these politicians voted yes for crypto, in favor of crypto, and why there's also Gary Gensler, not voting, but let's say approving the Ethereum ETFs very quickly. Yes, political pressure. TD Cowen, Washington Research Group, led by Jared Seiberg, wrote in a note today, we see this as a positive for the stablecoin bill this year as well, and market structure in 2024 and 2025. Last week, the Securities and Exchange Commission unexpectedly approved 8 spot Ethereum exchange-traded funds, with some speculating that politics played a role. Politics just didn't play a role, it played the role when it came to regulations for crypto assets. A day before the SEC approvals, the United States House passed a market structure bill to regulate the crypto industry, which garnered some Democratic support, including former Speaker of the House of Representatives Nancy Pelosi of California. A stablecoin bill was seen as essentially as a low-hanging fruit, but it was entangled in who should be the primary regulator for the stablecoin issuer, the federal government or the state regulators. A House vision passed out that the body's Financial Services Committee last year, the committee's chair, Rep. Patrick McHenry, essentially, and Rep. Maxine Waters and DCARF have said they are working on it to get it passed, the stablecoin bill. Because of this whole political adventure and $100 million at stake for these politicians, to be essentially greenlighting anything crypto related, which is what cryptocurrency projects should have done from the beginning. It's also what FTX was doing, ironically, and what Sam Beckman was doing. So Sam Beckman, but he was doing it with other people's money. He was investing other people's money into politicians' pockets to get them to favor cryptocurrencies, but also favor his company above everybody else's. And it wasn't even his money, it was the clients he was stealing from. So this $100 million fund, so you can see FTX started off, but this $100 million fund is doing absolute magic work inside the political sector, because everything's related to politics. And regarding TD Cowen Bank coming out and saying, yes, we believe it's a political move, that what's happening inside this green light crypto zone and the ETFs coming out so quickly. And we believe this is why the politicians are voting in favor of cryptocurrencies. Yeah. I knew this was going to happen the day the fund was created, the day I announced it on this live show. These live shows are all pre-recorded. The day the crypto fund for politicians was created, I announced what will happen, which is essentially the political donations which get things favored into cryptocurrencies. Everything I do is pre-recorded, and anybody could go back to my past videos. The day that fund was created, I said exactly what's going to happen regarding politicians all of a sudden coming in favor of cryptocurrencies. And now we have, political regulations regarding cryptocurrencies, and also an instant ETF approval for Ethereum. And the other cases are also going to put pressure on Gary Gensler to essentially wrap them up very quickly. The other pending cases, Gary Gensler has to wrap those cases up very quickly now. Now, the next news to go from tonight's live show is, apparently we have a date on when the Ethereum doors will open regarding their ETFs. And the date is set for June 4th. Now, how do we know it's June 4th and it's not June 5th or June 10th or so on? Well, this is opinion from a perspective of a person that's also applied for the ETFs, or a company that's applied for the ETFs, and they got green lighted as well. And they've come to the conclusion on live TV, on an interview, that June 4th is going to be when they open up the doors. So leveraged Ether ETFs to start trading June 4th. Sponsor Volatility Shares says the Volatility Shares 2x Ether Strategy ETFs will become the first leveraged ETH ETFs available inside the United States, with the company posting on its website that trading will begin on June 4th. The launch will come roughly 1 year after the Volatility Shares 2x Bitcoin fund opened for business in June 2023. The spot Bitcoin ETFs, finally winning the SEC approval and began trading about 7 months after that. Speaking with CoinDesk, Volatility Shares Chief Investment Officer Stuart Bolton said his company's success in winning the approval for the leveraged Ether ETFs may help pave the way for ultimate approval for the spot Ether ETFs. The SEC last week approved key regulatory filings tied to the spot, essentially, funds, but did not yet greenlight their launch. While several details of the spot ETFs on no doubt being essentially presented and worked out with the SEC, the launch of the 2x Ether ETF, however, would certainly indicate the SEC's growing appetite for further crypto-light ETFs, Bolton said. So some people still had some doubts, the S1 filings not being approved by the SEC. But if the 2x Ether ETF is already greenlighted for June 4th regarding leveraged, essentially, Ether, if that's already greenlighted and that's coming to the market space, leveraged Ether 2x on an ETF space, then the chances of the S1 filings being rejected is quite low, because they are about to open their doors on June 4th. And it's confirmed on their end. So if you were thinking to yourself, maybe the S1 filings get rejected by the SEC, very low chance. 1 to a billion now, very slim. Because they got greenlighted for June 4th regarding a leveraged 2x Ether ETF to open their doors on June 4th for trading. Now, Ether will continue to outperform Bitcoin in the near term, says a crypto asset manager. Is Ethereum going to be outperforming Bitcoin in the near term? Not my perspective. According to an asset manager, we'll go through what asset manager he is. Sorry about that. Ether will continue to outperform Bitcoin in near term, says crypto asset manager. Ether will continue to gain value relative to Bitcoin in the near term, as anticipation of the spot exchange traded funds, ETFs, trading draws investor interest to the second largest digital asset by market cap. According to one investment manager, ratio probably essentially keeps Bitcoin and essentially Ethereum's ratio probably keeps marching up to 0.06%. Arbolos Markets co-founder Joshua Lim told The Block. Currently, the ratio is 0.056, having steadily climbed from the multi-month low of 0.045 in mid-May before the surprise approval of the 8 spot Ethereum ETFs by the US Securities Exchange Commission last week. The SEC approved the Ether spot ETFs on Thursday, but unlike Bitcoin ETFs, which started trading the day after the approval, the Ether ETFs may not go live for a few months or weeks. Lim's opinions is echoed by K33 Research, which said that Ether is well positioned for a relative strength versus Bitcoin until the spot Ether ETFs are launched. Also today, K33 Market Report favors increased Ether exposure for now. In a very simple term of what K33 is suggesting is that essentially The build-up is just, regarding Ethereum ETFs, the build-up is going to get higher and higher for corporations. And when the doors open, they're going to be coming in, like the floodgates have been opened up regarding corporations. So the market is going to be building up and building up this anticipation from the retail section and some hedge funds coming in at these Ether prices and regarding just buying Ethereum, the asset itself. And then when the doors finally do open regarding ETF trading for Ethereum, it's going to be like opening up the floodgates, and these corporations are going to come in through the doors, the windows, and everything else because they've been waiting on the sidelines for too long, and they're just getting hyped up about it. And a very simple way to put it, regarding what K33 said, regarding the exposure for now. Conditions are currently favoring overweight Ether exposure, and the asset's current strength resembles Bitcoin's price action in the months leading to BTC ETF approvals. The next weeks will see essentially fillers pursuing investors to secure a solid seed and transactions for the eventual ETF launch, while Ether is only indirectly exposed to massive creditor repayments stemming from also the Mt. Gox estate. So this favors continued relative strength in Ether until the ETF launch, the K33 research analyst said. Regarding MTX Gox, they're going to be releasing quite a lot of Bitcoin, which could put pressure on Bitcoin. At the same time, buying pressure could happen on Ethereum ETFs. Ether undergoing re-rating ratio. Lim added that the Ether market is undergoing a longer revaluation period and price adjustment. I think Ether has been such an under-owned asset for so long that we are seeing a longer essentially re-rating ratio, Lim added. Other high market assets also appear to be gaining attention after the Ether ETF approval. Notably, there was an uptick across legacy proof-of-work coins as the market has started to price an increased probability of ETFs on a broad universe of crypto assets, he said. So regarding what he's essentially said, more than what K33 said in their statement as well, the Mt. Gox situation, if they do start releasing Bitcoin funds to everybody that lost their Bitcoins in 2014, and in 2024 they're going to be getting their Bitcoins refunded from Mt. Gox, which is about $9.6 billion worth of BTC. It could put selling pressure on BTC. At the same time, the doors open on Ethereum ETFs and the buying pressure happens on Ethereum ETFs at that particular moment in time, which would essentially, they're saying, it would outpace Bitcoin in terms of the buying pressure coming in, the buying pressure, which is a possibility. And regarding, the corporations being left on the sidelines for too long, it's like, in a very simple way, it's like a cartoon. The best way to put it as an analogy is picture it like a cartoon where there's a window here and the corporation is watching through a window and they see a pie. And the corporation is just slavering on this pie through the window. And they're just waiting for this window to be opened, is what was described by K33 in a very simple way. The analogy I used was from a cartoon, apologies, but it was the simplest analogy I could give to anybody watching this right now. It's the corporations are right now sitting behind the window watching the pie. They're just waiting for that window to open, just like a cartoon. Or like Family Guy. Now, that's what K33 was describing. They said the longer they keep the investors out, the more they want it. The corporations regarding ETFs. Also, all market, and the next news we're going to go through on tonight's live show is quite a big one as well. Nick Van Eyck. Argo is going to be releasing a new stablecoin. Now, if you're wondering who is Nick Van Eyck, basically he's the son of Van Eyck, the massive assets under management company. He's the son of this person, and he's about to be releasing his first ever stablecoin. So you could technically say it's kind of Van Eyck's also first stablecoin, because Van Eyck is his father and he's Nick Van Eyck. Also, all market movements, recent events are lining up with the article of Bank of America, which they are. It's true, yes, what Camels has just said regarding month of July being a huge month, which is also true. Bank of America analysts, what Camel's relating to inside the comment section right now, the first comment on the comment section. Camel, basically I shared an article from Bank of America. So Bank of America's analyst suggested that in July, something major is going to be happening in terms of centralized banks in the banking world in general. A lot of things are going to be happening in July. But he said that things are going to be positioning themselves for July in the banking sector. So major things are on the way, so essentially in July, from an analyst's perspective from Bank of America. But things have to get positioned for July. And there's a lot of things happening inside the banking sector. He said June. No, in June. He said June, my bad. Not July, June, sorry. It was about 4 days ago, 5 days ago that I read the news. June, sorry, I said June on the video, not July. Now, thank you for that, Billo. I said June, not July. Yeah, Billo, thank you for that. Nick Van Eyck's Argo, AUSD launches on Ethereum in June. This one was June, that one was July. Sorry, this one was June as well. Okay, he's launching in June. Nick Van Eyck's Argo AUSD launches on Ethereum in June, marking a stablecoin 3.0 era. Nick Van Eyck, CEO of Argo and son of asset management giant Van Eyck, will launch US dollar-pegged stablecoin AUSD on the Ethereum network in June. And Camel, if you're wondering, did I say June or July? The videos are all pre-recorded, so go 4 days back on the live shows and then see what I said, June or July. Or I could just check on the article after the live show for you, no problem. Now, this is quite massive news, and I think it was June as well. And if it is June, which it was, this is quite massive because it also lines up with what Bank of America's analyst said as well. Major things are going to be happening in terms of the banking sector in June. This move introduces the concept of stablecoins 3.0, aiming to revolutionize the digital dollar market. Argo envisions that digital dollars becoming the dominant currency globally, starting with the euro dollar market. And a recent blog post, Van Eyck's project Argo's AUSD model to lead this transformation by 2030, with the stablecoin market expected to grow from $150 billion to $3 trillion. According to Van Eyck, stablecoins have evolved significantly over the past decade. Stablecoin 1.0 began with Tether USDT, which introduced centralized digital dollars. Following this era of stablecoin 2.0 came, represented by USDC and BUSD. They offered a greater transparency and licensing, but retained a single patent distribution model. However, this model often led to conflicts of interest and substantial economic benefits were shared with major competitors. Now, stablecoin 2.0 issuers benefit from rising interest rates, but the advent of yield-bearing stablecoins presented new challenges. Many jurisdictions classifying these products as securities, limiting their utility and acceptance. They also struggle to sustain essentially business models and develop ecosystems due to insufficient margins. Now this is what he said word for word. Despite being a dollar dominated, these products are essentially yield products. They may attempt to brand themselves as a stablecoin or to be used as a means of a payment or trading, but they are unlikely to achieve substantial demand in these areas. Substantial demand beginning essentially subjectively defined as being used by traditional corporates, financial service firms, and $25 to $50 billion of circular supply, Van Eyck said. Van Eyck emphasized that businesses are the real drivers of utility and liquidity for stablecoins. Argo's AUSD represents stablecoin 3.0, designed to compensate businesses for their contributions, such as listing tokens, providing liquidity, marketing, and accepting AUSD as a payment or collateral. Van Eyck is about to be introducing their own stablecoin through his son. This approach aligns economic interest with businesses, offering substantial recurring revenue and fostering growth through enhanced services for users. Argo's revenue sharing model allows businesses to reinvest in development, marketing, security, and user acquisition, creating a mutually beneficial ecosystem. While individual holders of AUSD do not directly receive any yield or income generated by Argo. The model ensures that businesses driving liquidity and utility receive adequate compensation. So stablecoin 3.0, so stablecoin 1.0 is USDT, old school mechanisms. Stablecoin 2.0 is BUSD, which has gone bust, or USDC. This is stablecoin 3.0, where the businesses actually, earn some type of an income from the stablecoin instead of everybody. In other words, the retail section as well. Right now on USDC, you can stake your USDC inside the retail section and earn something on the yield. With stablecoin 3.0, the retail section will earn nothing from it, but the businesses can earn from it by staking and so on and so on. So they benefit more. The corporate sector will benefit more from stablecoin 3.0 designs than 2.0 or 1.0. Furthermore, AUSD will be backed by cash, US Treasury bills, and overnight repurchase agreements. VanEck will manage the fund for Argo's reserves, ensuring that AUSD remains stable and trustworthy. In April, Argo successfully raised $12 million in seed funding round led by Dragonfly, a digital asset venture firm. General Catalyst and Robot Ventures also participated in the round as well. This is quite major news, and it lines perfectly with essentially what Bank of America said regarding Bank of America analysts suggesting that in June, there's going to be major things happening inside the banking sector. In June, this is just one of the major things that's happening, but it's quite major, regarding VanEck releasing their own stablecoin, AUSD, a new version of a stablecoin 3.0, a whole new era of a stablecoin is being created. Yeah. USDT is not going to do too well continuing forward. And AUSD can be a big player. And it is VanEck's son. However, VanEck's, the AUSD stablecoin built by Argo, which is VanEck's son's company, is actually, the funds are going to be managed by VanEck, the massive company. So that's going to be an interesting player. And Ripple's also coming out with a stablecoin as well. So quite a lot of stablecoins in the factor. Now, if we look at them from a perspective of strength and weakness, USDC has depegged before. So that's what one weakness for USDC is. It's depegged before. Is it going to depeg again? Who knows? USDT has a major issue with transparency. Ripple's stablecoin is going to be coming out as well this year. Ripple has those contracts, those partnerships going for it, and according to Ripple, their clients wanted a stablecoin they can trust. That's why Ripple's coming out a stablecoin. And now we're getting VanEck's stablecoin. We also have PayPal stablecoin, but nobody really uses it. VanEck's stablecoin is going to be interesting because VanEck is in a circle loop with corporations, because VanEck, BlackRock, JP Morgan, Franklin Templeton, Wisdom Tree, Vanguard, they're all in one big loop. They own shares in each other. So if VanEck is going to be coming with this new product, stablecoin 3.0, they can have an edge on stablecoins in terms of corporations. And the people that benefit from this stablecoin are only businesses, not the retail section. With USDC, you can go and stake your USDC and earn some money on it. With stablecoin 3.0 from VanEck, retail section doesn't earn any money from it. Only businesses do. So let's see how that one plays out. But what's interesting, the only concept about it that's quite interesting is not that they're going to be releasing it, 3.0, so all that is interesting. But what's interesting is, why is he releasing it through his son? Why is VanEck, massive assets under management company, releasing this new concept of a 3.0 stablecoin through his son? Why not just introduce it through VanEck and let your son run the show? My only worry is that his son, VanEck's son, might mess it up somewhere down the line and cause a massive downfall on the market on stablecoins, on VanEck's stablecoin. Because I would have trusted it more if VanEck was, releasing this coin. But this ideology of, this idea of his son going to his father, the son going to the father and saying, I want to build a stable coin. Will you, funnel me or back me or some sort of a way so I can introduce a stable coin to the market space? That's the part where it's a bit, if the sun goes sideways with the stable coin, that's going to be quite a big sideways. So I still want to trust it. The same way I don't go for PayPal stablecoin either. As a company, PayPal in the past, from my own personal experience, they froze, accounts for no apparent reason for 6 months. That's why when PayPal released their stablecoin, I said, I don't trust PayPal when they used to do fiat. How can I trust them when they do stablecoins? Same scenario goes here. If Vanik was going to introduce it themselves, I can see trust in it. But if they're going to introduce it through Vanik's son, because I could picture it already, the son going to the father, I want to create a stable coin. And the father goes, no problem, son. Let me, make a couple of phone calls and get the ball rolling for you. But if his son decides to go sideways, which is a huge possibility, because he's using daddy's money essentially to create a stable coin, if it goes sideways, it's going to be quite bad for stable coins. So that's why I think this idea goes south for me. If Vanik came up with a stable coin, I'd say, okay, good. Vanik, well established, they won't go sideways. But because the son of Vanik is coming out with a stable coin, that's where it gets a bit, maybe I need to think about it twice before I use the stable coin. But I hope them, I wish them the best. I wish the son the best, of Vanik's son. I hope he does very well for himself. But I still wouldn't say it's going to be, top tier stablecoin in my books in any sort of a way. And again, if it was Vanik introducing it, I would say top tier stablecoin. But because it's his son introducing it, not Vanik themselves directly, that's where I have to draw the line. Because I feel like the son's going to mess up somewhere down the line. Now, the next news to go through on the tonight's live show is two BlackRock funds added the firm's IBIT spot Bitcoin ETF to portfolio in quarter number one. In quarter one. Pretty sure it's June, as I remembered, as it's my birthday month, and I questioned you on it last week. Turning 21. Let's go, Shelly. Is Ripple the only one building a stable coin for multiple currencies, pounds, euros, and dollars? Well, Ripple's going to be the only one that goes beyond pounds, dollars, and euros. They're going to go for Japanese yen and yuan, and not Chinese, but Japanese yen and so on. So they're the ones that are going to go beyond the three musketeers. The three musketeers, the dollars, the pounds, and the euros. So Ripple's going to be the only one that goes beyond the three musketeers. Seems dodgy to me. Regarding Vanik's son building a stablecoin, yes, seems very odd. But great adoption rate, and I wish him the best. I hope he does incredibly well for his company. Now, two BlackRock funds added, essentially, the firm's IBIT spot. Sorry about that. My water bowl's glass, so every time I hit it, it makes noise. Two funds managed by BlackRock have brought shares in the firm's spot Bitcoin ETF ticker, symbol IBIT, according to filings with the US Securities and Exchange Commission. Both the Wall Street giant BlackRock Strategic Income Opportunities and BlackRock's Strategic Global Bonds funds reported having brought shares in the spot Bitcoin ETF launched by the firm in January. So what they mean, essentially, very simple term, is recently every company in the United States had to file in their 13F filings with the SEC to show if they have brought Bitcoin ETFs or not. 937 corporations filed in that they have brought Bitcoin ETFs through their companies. And BlackRock had to file in as well, obviously. It seems to be that BlackRock is going full exposure into Bitcoin. Because not only do they have, a Bitcoin fund, an ETF, essentially, not only do they have the Bitcoin ETF, but they also have the IBIT scenario going on as well in terms of blockchain. But they're also expanding their exposure into two of their own separate funds as well in BlackRock, where they're purchasing ETFs through their own company. BlackRock Strategic Income Opportunities acquired nearly $3.6 million worth of worth of IBIT shares, while BlackRock Street Global Bond brought $486,000 in IBIT shares during the first quarter of 2024, according to the filings. BlackRock's IBIT exchange-traded funds has taken in more fresh capital than any other spot Bitcoin ETF since the ETFs have began trading in January. Grayscale's spot Bitcoin ETF currently has more assets under management than any of its peers, but the firm's fund is a conversion of its flagship GBTC fund, which had nearly $30 billion in assets under management at launch. But that was at launch, and Grayscale has quite a lot of sell-offs. Both BlackRock funds that purchase shares in the IBIT spot Bitcoin ETFs are managed by Rick Ryder, the firm's CIO of Global Fixed Incomes. Filings for the first quarter of this year showed that hundreds of traditional financial firms purchased the shares in spot Bitcoin ETFs during the physical period. Bloomberg ETF analyst Eric said it was mind-boggling that more than 400, by the way, as I said, 937 corporations brought Bitcoin ETFs inside the United States. Out of those 937 corporations, 400 of those institutions brought BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. That's what the mind-boggling part was for them. Massive. Absolutely massive. And regarding BlackRock, going more exposure towards blockchain, also massive. As I said, people inside the corporate sector tend to follow each other. So BlackRock's going full exposure, much more. Expect a lot more institutions like BlackRock and their competitors and even companies below them to follow their footsteps and go into more exposure when it comes to crypto assets. So extremely bullish. Now, Bitcoin ETPs go live on London's stock exchange. Recently, I revealed to everybody that London Stock Exchange is going to be opening their doors to Bitcoin and Ethereum ETPs from WisdomTree. Now, that has just now happened. Bitcoin exchange-traded products offered by 21 Shares and WisdomTree have gone live on the London Stock Exchange, the 11th biggest essentially stock exchange in the world by trading volume. European regulations prevent issuers from offering exchange-traded funds, ETFs, for a single commodity like Bitcoin due to the diversification rules. Cryptocurrency ETPs, which have been around for years, provide buyers a rather similar investment experience. These products also claim to offer the same level of transparency and investor protections. The key difference is that ETPs accept the underlying asset in kind, which means that authorized participants or issuers exchange the crypto assets themselves for shares of the corresponding ETP. For comparison, US-based Bitcoin ETFs, such as BlackRock's IBIT, exchange cash for ETP shares. Bitcoin ETPs from 21 Shares and WisdomTree are also available on stock exchanges in Germany and Switzerland. 21 Shares, essentially Cider, noted that the UK has one of the most liquid capital markets in the world. The UK's main financial regulator, however, remains cautious about the industry. It recently defended its slow pace of approving crypto applications, claiming that it wants to prioritize trust first. So, the UK opened its doors essentially to WisdomTree and 21 Shares is Bitcoin and Ethereum, essentially ETPs. Now, you might be thinking, why has nothing happened? Give it a week or two. It needs to mature first. And then the price movement will happen. Because even described by 21 Shares, the UK London Stock Exchange, the UK market space described by 21 Shares is the most liquid capital markets in the world. Give it about a week or two. Let the asset mature, then the movement will come. Donald Trump is the next news we're going to be going through on tonight's live show. Donald Trump is looking for ways to pay the US debt. So the United States ex-president, and who knows, soon to become new president, is looking for different types of methods he can use to pay off the US debt. One of those methods was apparently to use Bitcoin to pay off the US debts. Donald Trump, known for his, in the past, anti-Bitcoin, BTC, and cryptocurrency statements during his previous presidency, is now making positive statements in his election campaign. Trump, who has made positive statements about Bitcoin and crypto in almost every speech, turned to Bitcoin to solve the US national debt problem. David Bailey, CEO of Bitcoin Magazine and an aide to Trump's cryptocurrency campaign. So this man, David Bailey, who's also the CEO of a Bitcoin magazine, but is also a part of Trump's campaign for this whole cryptocurrency venture he's in. He stated that Trump consulted him about whether Bitcoin could be a solution to solve the US's $35 trillion debt, stating that Trump asked him this question. In the first meeting, Bailey explained that he had some ideas but said that he was not ready to discuss this issue in the first meeting. Bailey stated that as the Bitcoin magazine team, they advised Donald Trump to develop a moderate policy towards Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So, is Donald Trump thinking about paying off the US national debt, which is about $35 trillion, using Bitcoin? You never know. You never know what Donald Trump is thinking. Also, you never know what Joe Biden is thinking. To be fair, I don't know what. To be fair, I don't even know if Joe Biden knows what Joe Biden is thinking. But yeah, you never know what Trump is thinking. Possibility. There's a possibility, but there's also the other scenarios that he could possibly use a different type of cryptocurrency to pay off the debts as well. But is he going to use Bitcoin? Let's see. Time will tell. I was thinking they won't. I was thinking, why don't they do that a while ago? You were thinking, why didn't they do that a while ago regarding paying off the US national debt using cryptocurrencies? They could have, but they didn't want to. Because if they pay off as long as they haven't paid off the debt, they can still, have fun with the printing machine. But the moment they pay off their debts, then they have to go on a straight road, a path to good for a while before they mess up again. But as long as we're in this path of messed up dollars, they can, take advantage of it. But if they pay off the debt, they're on a clean slate, which means they have to stick to a clean slate, not forever, let's just be honest, it's politics. But they have to stick to a clean slate for a while before they can go sideways again. But as long as they're sideways, they can take advantage of being sideways. That's why they haven't paid off their debt yet. Because as long as they're going sideways, they can take advantage of going sideways. But if they pay off their national debt, then they have to stick on a clean slate for a while. Which, politicians are greedy people. Trying to tell a politician not to take a donation is like telling someone not to drive fast in a Ferrari. It's just not going to happen. If you drive a Ferrari, you're going to want to drive fast. Politician, same scenario. Telling a politician not to be greedy, it's never going to happen. But that's why. Joe's not thinking, lol. Yeah, that's true as well. Joe's never thinking. I always picture Joe Biden as, the cartoon called Simpsons. Everybody's seen The Simpsons before. You know that scene inside The Simpsons with Homer Simpson, where, his missus is talking to him, and then Homer Simpson has this monkey in his head, where the camera zooms in, there's a monkey in his head, just going like this. This is what I pictured, Joe Biden, just up there, just that monkey going like this. If anybody's seen the episode on Simpsons, knows what I'm talking about. It's been years since I've ever seen a Simpsons episode. Sorry, a while ago, I meant thinking about using BTC to pay it off. It crossed my mind a month or so. But yeah, that's why they won't do it. Because they can continue going sideways for a while. Now, I think Kamal's seen the cartoon. I think JP's in the cartoon as well. Now, Ripple CEO. Ripple CEO is the next news we're going to go through. And essentially, it's his perspective on the political aspects and the win for crypto in general, moving forward, essentially. Ripple CEO confident on crypto's win in elections and XRP lawsuit as well. So both. Ripple CEO Brad is highly confident about the crypto industry's win in the US elections this year, as for the first time in US history, crypto voters will be a significant force in this year's elections, Brad said, which is true. Crypto holders, you can tell crypto holders hold the votes this time around, where every campaign inside the politics is becoming crypto related, but it's also because of the crypto fund. Now, the move comes as executives from the US crypto industry's lobby for pro-crypto bills, and Ripple CEO talked about its win in the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit as well. Moreover, many cryptocurrency lobbyists and lawyers acknowledge they were closely involved in helping to draft FIT21 crypto bill. Cryptocurrency lobbyists and lawyers. Sheila Warren, chief executive of the Crypto Council for Innovation, inside this week's that her group worked on some of the provisions a year and a half or 2 years ago on this crypto bill. The FIT21. Ripple CEO and other executives lobby for pro-crypto regulations. Ripple CEO Brad and Blockchain Association Chief Executive Christian Smith revealed an expensive lobbying campaign in this election year for pro-crypto regulations. The strategy accumulated last week with the US House passage of the bill backed and drafted by the crypto industry. Brad again asked Democrats to abandon Elizabeth Warren, anti-crypto army, and to take a stance on keeping innovation inside the United States. They should definitely abandon Elizabeth Warren. How is Elizabeth Warren still a politician? Brad's comments came weeks after he stated that the SEC is going to lose the Ripple versus SEC case. In the long run, despite appeals and other arguments, he said the SEC has been trying to settle the lawsuit to create a narrative that Ripple's been a bad actor. This is all according to Brad, the SEC essentially doing this. Crypto elections that the SEC is trying to, settle with them, but trying to make Ripple look like the bad character at the same time. Crypto elections inside the United States. Crypto companies and investors have strategically used at least $149 million over the past 4 years for pro-crypto regulations backed by leaders such as Coinbase and Ripple. Political donations. They've even elected new allies to Congress and defeated lawmakers seen as potential threats. Coinbase, Ripple, and lobbying groups like the Blockchain Association and the Crypto Council for Innovation helped House Republicans devise the legislative approach. The FIT21 crypto bill was passed by the House, obviously, to shift some crypto oversight from the SEC to the CFTC. Brad said crypto ramped up politically to provide a perspective about all the constructive, positive things about this industry. Democrats such as Ro Khanna, Christian, Gilbert, and Richie Torres are the top Democrats with massive donations from crypto industries. Whatever gets the job done. Let's just be honest. They're being paid off. All these politicians right now, they're all happy days for crypto, all in favor of crypto. They're being paid off. Another word for paid off is political donations, which, don't mind it. It was something that needed to be done. Judge Torres ruling in FIT21. CoinGape earlier reported that a section in the crypto bill is similar to what Judge Torres ruled that XRP is not in itself a security. The FIT21 bill crypto excludes claims that an investment contract asset is a security. So apparently, what was stated in the FIT21 bill is also what was stated by Judge Torres. where a digital asset sold or transferred or intended to be sold or transferred pursuant to an investment contract is not and does not become a security as a result of being sold or otherwise transferred pursuant to an investment contract, it reads. So what Judge Torres ruled in favor of XRP was correct, because that's also according to the FIT21 bill. So that's good news. And with Brad essentially stating, the SEC being desperate, trying to keep on settle, left, right, and center, but at the same time trying to make Ripple look bad to settle and so on that matter. But yeah, politics is definitely changing in favor of cryptocurrencies. The political donations are doing absolute wonders. Yeah, honestly, things are looking better and better. Things might not look better on price action, but on the books, things are looking better and better. Behind the scenes, they're looking better. Politicians is looking better. Adoption rate on banks and institutions coming into the play also look better as well. So, yeah, this market is looking great. Just depends on what perspective you're looking at. If you look in the perspective of a quick buck, then no. But if you look at the perspective of a long-term future, great adoption rates happening this year and regulation and so on, and you profiting on generational wealth, yes, hell yes. Because things are definitely positioning themselves. Definitely. As I said previously, it's like a chessboard. They're just positioning themselves on the chessboard to begin the games. Now, we've also come to the endings of this live show as well. Back in the room, can't sleep. Back in the room, can't sleep. We've also come to the endings of this live show as well. On this live show, we talked about Ripple's confident outlook on the market perspectives, which is quite bullish, having such a strong stance. And politicians, it's all about politics. Everything that we do with the crypto markets or any sort of market space is all about politics. We also talked about Donald Trump, who's looking for a way to use Bitcoin to pay off the US national debt, apparently. We also talked about Bitcoin ETPs that have went live in the UK now. We also talked about which is extremely bullish in the long run, definitely bullish. The two BlackRock funds that BlackRock is, showing more exposure to the crypto assets. That's also bullish as well. We also talked about essentially on tonight's live show regarding Nick Van releasing his own stablecoin for himself, but also through his father. So Vanik is about to be releasing a stablecoin, which could be seen as a positive news, but also very strange news, but bullish in a sense because corporations will follow in suit. We also talked about Ethereum maybe outperforming Bitcoin on the volumes coming in on the ETFs due to the corporations being held outside for too long before the doors open. We also talked about regarding a leveraged Ethereum ETF that's going to start trading June 4th. June 4th, the doors will open for a leveraged 2x Ether ETF. We also talked about political spendings regarding TD Cowen Bank, their perspective on the political aspects of the crypto space changing as well, just like Brad's. We also talked about the healthcare tech companies that are right now lining up and buying Bitcoin, showing exposure to Bitcoin and using it as company reserve assets. They're following the footsteps of essentially MicroStrategy, which is great for Bitcoin, great for the cryptocurrency adoption rate as well. Amazingly bullish regarding health tech companies coming into inside the crypto sector. Amazingly bullish. We also talked about Luxor and Bitmore launching their first Bitcoin mining derivatives inside the United States, which is also big news. We also talked about reasons why the crypto market declined today, on the exact reasons on why it declined. We also talked about Fantom and Google Cloud's partnership, which was massive news as well, those aspects of that crypto project. We also talked about, on tonight's live show, regarding Riot Platforms getting a bigger piece of the pie when it comes to crypto mining. When it comes to Bitcoin mining, Riot Platforms is about to now get a bigger piece of the pie, which means BlackRock has a bigger piece of the pie in controlling the Bitcoin mining. And we also talked about a UK bank that is essentially going to be freezing people's bank accounts if they buy cryptocurrencies. Kuro Bank is what it's named. If you're using that bank, stay away from it. Not financial advice in any sort of way. So, if you enjoyed this live show and you're watching it for the first time ever, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. I share you the most recent news that's happening around the world. I share you news before anybody else shares it to you as well. So tune into this live show if you enjoy this live show every single night at 11:25 p.m. plus. Past is what I mean, 11:25 p.m. past UK time on X or YouTube live as well, because we're live on both of them as usual. So if you enjoy this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, subscribe to me on YouTube if you watch us on YouTube, so follow me on X if you're watching me on X, and you know, if you enjoyed it, drop a like on YouTube as well, and retweet on X if you enjoyed it, or like. I will be seeing everybody tomorrow. Good night, Miles and all CMF. Thank you as always for your time and the news. Let's go, JP. JP, see you tomorrow, brother. See you tomorrow sometimes usual. Good night, Miles and CMF. Mike, see you tomorrow sometimes usual as well. Thanks, Miles. Good night and / day, CMF. Let's go, Shelly. See you tomorrow sometimes usual as well. Thanks, Miles. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow, Orphan. See you tomorrow sometimes usual as well. Coin. Good night, Miles and CMF. See you tomorrow sometimes usual. Coin. Thank you and good night. Gina. See you tomorrow sometimes usual as well. Ray. See you tomorrow sometimes usual as well. Take care, Miles and CMF. Let's go. Also, join our amazing community of people as well on Telegram. CMF. This live show is called the CMF Live Show, which stands for Crypto Mouse Family. Everything I provide is completely free of source. Get engaged in the comment sections. Tune into this live show every single night. And everybody inside of CMF is absolutely amazing. They're always inside the comment section as well on YouTube or X. And yeah, drop a like and tune into it every single night. So, we have come to the endings of this live show, which means I'm going to be doing the outro now, which is thank you so much to everybody that tunes in every single night. Thanks so much to everybody from the CMF that tunes in every single night. I will be seeing everybody tomorrow. Same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. See you tomorrow, Simon.